Hello, my name is Camillo Lansafami, and this is Unit 4C of the A.T.Dip.A Pianoforte Teaching Diploma. Today I will be discussing the major historical periods of Western art music, and how piano repertoire and performance practice evolved across these eras. By examining changes in musical style, compositional priorities, and the physical development of the piano itself, we can better understand how pianists' technical and expressive demands have transformed over time. Each period reflects not only musical innovation, but also broader cultural and aesthetic shifts, all of which continue to influence piano performance today. We start off with the Baroque period, which ran from 1600 to 1750, the year of Bach's death. The Baroque period is characterized by complexity, ornamentation, and a strong emphasis on counterpoint. Although the piano was invented towards the end of this era by Cristofori, keyboard music of the Baroque period was primarily written for the harpsichord and clavichord. As a result, Baroque keyboard repertoire was not conceived with dynamic contrast in mind, since the harpsichord could not vary volume through touch. Composers such as Bach, Scarlatti, and Handel were central to Baroque keyboard literature. Bach's Well-Tempered Clavier, for example, remains foundational to piano study today, despite being written before the modern piano existed. These works emphasize polyphonic texture, independence of the hands, and clarity of voicing. A little bit of that can be seen here in an excerpt of a Bach fugue from one of his toccatas. Performance practice in Baroque music prioritizes rhythmic stability, articulation, and stylistic ornamentation, a little bit of which you could see there. On the modern piano, performers must recreate the clarity and balance originally intended for earlier instruments, often using controlled touch and minimal pedal. The Baroque period laid the technical and intellectual foundations of keyboard playing, establishing skills such as finger independence and contrapuntal awareness that remains essential for pianists. Next up, we have the Classical period, which was from approximately 1750 to around 1820. The Classical period marked a significant stylistic shift toward balance, clarity, and formal structure. During this era, the forte piano gradually replaced the harpsichord, allowing composers to explore dynamic contrast and expressive nuance. This development had a profound impact on piano repertoire and performance. Composers such as Mozart, Haydn, and early Beethoven wrote extensively for the piano, taking advantage of its ability to respond to touch. Classical piano music is characterized by clear melodic lines, homophonic textures, and well-defined forms such as sonata form, we can see here in a Mozart sonata. From a performance perspective, classical repertoire demands precision, control, and stylistic elegance. Articulation, balance between hands, and phrasing are paramount, while excessive pedal use is generally avoided. Unlike Baroque music, classical works often feature contrasting themes and dynamic changes, reflecting the Enlightenment ideals of order and rationality. The Classical period firmly established the piano as a solo instrument capable of expressive depth, setting the stage for more emotionally driven music of the Romantic era. Speaking of the Romantic period, that's next, from 1820 to 1900. And the Romantic period represents a dramatic expansion of expressive possibilities in piano music. Technological advancements led to the development of the modern piano, featuring a stronger frame, increased range, and greater dynamic capacity. This allowed composers and performers to explore heightened emotion, color, and virtuosity. Composers such as Chopin, Liszt, Schumann, and Brahms transformed piano repertoire into a deeply personal and expressive medium. Chopin's nocturnes and etudes, for example, combine lyrical expression with advanced technical demands, while Liszt works showcase extreme virtuosity and orchestral textures at the piano. Performance practices of the Romantic period prioritizes expressive freedom, rubato, tonal enrichment, and extensive pedal use. We can see this in a Chopin prelude. Pianists are expected to shape long melodic lines, convey emotional narratives, and display technical brilliance. We saw a little bit of that here in Chopin's work. The piano became both a vehicle for intimate expression and public virtuosity, reflecting romantic ideals of individualism and emotional depth. This era significantly expanded the technical and expressive expectations placed on pianists, many of which continue to define advanced piano performance today. Finally, we have the 20th century, or modern period, which runs from 1900 to around present day. The 20th century brought radical diversity and experimentation in piano music, as composers reacted against romantic excess and explored new musical languages. There is no single defining style. Instead, this period encompasses Impressionism, Expressionism, Neoclassicism, Minimalism, jazz influences, and avant-garde techniques, amongst others. Composers such as Debussy and Ravel explored colour, texture, and atmosphere, often using the piano in a highly imaginative, almost orchestral way. Later, composers like Bartók, Schoenberg, Cage, and Glass challenged traditional harmony, rhythm, and even the physical use of the instrument. Techniques such as tone clusters, prepared piano, irregular meters, and extended techniques became increasingly common. Performance practice in modern repertoire demands versatility, precision, and openness to unconventional sounds, which there are quite a bit in this Shostakovich work. Pianists must often navigate complex rhythms, new notational systems, and experimental performance techniques. The piano is no longer limited to traditional tonal expression, but is treated as a sound-producing object with limitless potential. In conclusion, across the Baroque, Classical, Romantic, and modern periods, piano repertoire has evolved in response to changes in musical style, cultural values, and instrument design, from the contrapuntal clarity of Bach to the expressive freedom of Chopin and the experimental sounds of the 20th century. Each period has expanded the role of the piano and the expectations placed on performers. Understanding this historical progression allows pianists to approach repertoire with stylistic awareness, technical insight, and a deeper appreciation of the piano's rich and evolving musical legacy.